right, everyone, welcome back to the Family Beatdown Fantasy Update Show. This is the Week 10 preview, special election night coverage. We got the election returns coming in live as we speak. Polls here in California are still open for another almost 2 hours, but we're starting to see results coming in. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a tight night. Hope your guy wins, whoever that happens to be. So let's take a look at, let's talk first right away. Let's talk about our Notre Dame USC rivalry. Big game for Notre Dame. I told you had Pitt Panthers coming in. Not the best team you faced all year, not a ranked team, but they took you to 3 overtimes. What a game. Pitt is a good team. Big East team. 29-26 was the final there. And I tell you what, the pollsters must not have liked the performance from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, because in the BCS rankings, y'all dropped 1 point down to number 4. And we'll talk about who vaulted in front of you in just a minute. Give you a little insight there as to who the number 3 team is. You still got Alabama and who is it? Florida State at the top. Is it Florida State? Anyway, we'll pull that up and we'll give it an update in just a second. But up next is the Boston College Eagles. This is a long-time rivalry between Notre Dame and Boston College. Remember when I was out in Boston, the Fighting Irish were a regular in coming out and playing the Eagles. So at any rate, it's Kansas State. Kansas State is the number 2 team. So right now, the BCS rankings top 4 are Alabama, Kansas State, Oregon, and Notre Dame, all at 9-0. Now let's talk about USC. Second week in a row, they came up on the short end of the stick. This time, however, is kind of expected. I mean, you played Oregon. Oregon, I don't know if you guys watched this game, but there was almost 900 yards of total offense, over 800 yards of total offense in this game. And the final score was 62-51. It's like a basketball score right there. No doubt, that's like a Pac-12 basketball score. But it was just, it was a track meet. There was some good defense, but not a lot of it. But just a track meet going back and forth between the weapons of the Trojans versus the weapons of the University of Oregon. And the funny thing about University of Oregon, they had this guy, what was his name, Barner, that was just eating up the Trojans all day long. He was not even, in my mind, not even their star running back, a guy named DeAnthony Thomas is. And we saw DeAnthony Thomas just a couple of plays. Just the depth on Oregon is unbelievable. So keep your eye on them, because the way it looks right now, you guys could be facing them in a upcoming bowl game. But with the loss, the Trojans drop again in the BCS rankings down to number 19. And the biggest insult is now they're sitting behind the UCLA Bruins, number 18. So those two teams will match up in a couple of weeks. The week before, I think it's the week before the Notre Dame game is the UCLA game. And then we've got one other game with Arizona State coming up before the November 24th matchup. So at any rate, there it is. Notre Dame drops a place to number 4. USC drops a couple of places to number 19. Notre Dame plays Boston College, and USC is going to take on the, who does USC play next? Be good if I knew that, wouldn't it? They play Arizona State, like I just said. All right, so let's take a look at our league. I went 4-2 in my picks, getting back in the swing of things. I now stand, what is that? I now stand 32-21 for the season at 59.3%. Taking a look at the week that was. Smell this. Got plenty of point production out of, got good balance out of our RG3, Calvin Johnson, Julio. I keep saying Julio. It's Julio. It's Julio Jones. Julio Jones, Chris Johnson, and A.J. Green, all in double figures. For Blood, Sweat, and Beer, Matthew Stafford, below projections at 28. But a great game for Vincent Jackson, Steve Smith, and Malcolm Floyd. But not enough for Danny, as Smell This takes the win. Looking at, Grandpa has just dropped another one to Tyson, now down to 3-6, and was sitting at 6th overall, and is now out of playoff contention. Grandpa, you got some work to do, my friend. You got a lot of buys this week. You got to get covered up. Mighty Mullets, on the other hand, let's check this out. Talk about true to form. Mighty Mullets were projected to get 109.4. They booked 109.9. Very efficient. Russell Wilson for 38. Roddy White with a great game, and Ray Rice with a great game for Tyson. Taking a look at the Rednecks versus Mama of 4 Boldens, Dawn continues to roll. She takes this one 140.9 to 106.6. Big production out of Cam Newton and Adrian Peterson with 36 points, 12.6 for Mike Wallace. Mama of 4 Boldens went without a defense, went defenseless this week, but still was able to put up 106. She needs to cover for that, although she played well above her projection. She was only projected to get 80, and she got 106. So way to make the most out of it there, Veronica. Blue and Gold versus B-Hole Wreckers, the battle between brothers. This one won by Big Brother Jake, 116 to 108. B-Hole Wreckers, actually both these teams have been very active on the boards, cognizant of the fact that they need to make their moves now if they're going to be in playoff contention. We'll get to that in a second. But Jake takes the win, 116 to 108. Peyton gets 42.9, and Jimmy Graham, tight end, gets 13. Nice, Jake. Oh, Robbie Gould, I was just going to comment, boy, it really sucks to have your tight end as your second highest point producer, but that isn't the case. He was the third highest point producer. The second highest point producer was the kicker. Now, that does suck. You need to figure that out, Jake, before you come into this playoffs. Alex, good game out of Arian Foster, decent game out of Matty Ryan, but is not going to get it done with 2.8 out of Jeremy Macklin, 0.2 out of Santana Moss, and the rest. Taking a look at Decepticons versus Show Me Them TDs. Show Me Them TDs went on a tear this week. She put up over 162.9 points. No, not over. She put up 162.9. That was our high point of the week. And Jed Derone, Decepticons, 134.10. That would have won most games, but not this one. Big points for... Again, not big points for anybody. 29.5 for Roethlisberger, but then just nice balance for Rebecca. Sidney Rice with 13.9, Eric Decker 21.9, Michael LeShort 25, Matt Forte 25.8. Just good balance all the way around. For Jed, he had Andy Dalton in the starting for 35.5. Got a big goose egg out of Jordy Nelson, who got knocked out of the game early. But Marshawn Lynch with 26, and Andre Johnson with 16. Still not enough for Jed, as Show Me Them TDs moves to 4 and 5. Decepticons drop to 5 and 4. And in our game of the week, the MudDawgs, oy vey. The MudDawgs continue their unbeaten reign of terror, this time pounding Michael's Bears 6, 154.9, or 154.6 to 100.9. 33 for Breeze, not a great day for Breeze, but 33 for the Chicago defense, which was a good pick there, Rick. 15 from his kicker, 18 from Trent Richardson, 13.8 from Reggie Wayne. For Michael, Tony Romo played about what he should have. Larry Fitzgerald, who just needs a team, man. It must suck to be Larry Fitzgerald. He's the star wide receiver, and he's just on that horrible, horrible Arizona team. But 13.4, negative 1.4 from Michael out of Jared Cook in that tight end slot. And I love the gumption. I love the stones you show Michael by starting 2 tight ends. Normally those guys are about as worthless as they come. I never draft tight ends. I always pick them up on free agent. To me, they're plug and play. But Michael starting 2 of them. That's the way to go. That's a strategy for you right there. All right, so let's take a look at the league standings. Your overall number 1 team is the MudDawgs at 9 and 0. Number 2 team is Smell This at 8 and 1. Number 3 team, the Rednecks, at 7 and 2. Number 4, Decepticons at 5 and 4. Now we get into pretty much the 500 club. Number 5 team, Show Me Them TDs at 4 and 5. A little better, a little less than 500. And number 6 team is Blue and Gold at 4 and 5 as well. On the outside looking in, though very close, Mighty Mullets at 4 and 5. Right now is about a 300.4 difference. Jake has got 1139.8, and Tyson scored 918.7. So that's the difference between your 6th and your 7th place team. Your 8th place team, Blood, Sweat, and Beer at 3 and 6, really needs a win and really needs a loss on Mighty Mullets to make things exciting. Gerard Invincibles at 3 and 6 are sliding fast, but still with a chance to get into the playoffs. I'm not going to count anybody out. Although it's not looking good for Bear 6 and Mama of 4 Boldens. B-Hole Records got his work cut out for him as well. Taking a look at next week. Before we go into that, let's talk about Thursday night game is Indiana and Jacksonville. Bye weeks are Cleveland Browns, Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals, and the Washington Redskins. All right, Week 10. Here we go. All right, get some competition now. It's blue and gold versus smell this. I need to figure out wide receiver position, and Robert Griffin is going to be on bench, but I'll cover for that. Right now, Jake is projected at 117. He's at full strength, but the key matchups for him are going to be Peyton Manning against Carolina, Willis McGahee against Carolina. I like that 1-2 punch there, Jacob. Get the double scoring when those two hook up, if they hook up. I'm going to give the pick to smell this simply because I'm just, smarter and better looking than Jake. It just goes without saying. So we'll pick that right there. Taking a look at Bear 6 versus Mama 4 Boldens. This is going to be the another civil war. This is 2-2-7 teams. They're pretty evenly matched. This is Veronica versus her husband Michael. Michael versus his wife Veronica. Right now, Bears 6 has got Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Roberts on bye, projected to get 86 points. Mama 4 Boldens also has her kicker on bye and a hole in her defense, projected to get 74.9. I think Veronica is going to cover, and I think she's not going to shoot herself in the foot and cover for Michael, so I'm going to give the pick to the Mama of the 4 Boldens. Gerard Invincibles versus Blood, Sweat, and Beer. This is Grandpa versus Danny, 2 3-6 teams. Both desperately need a win. Grandpa's got buys galore. Aaron Rodgers is on bye. Greg Little's on bye. But Danny's at full strength. Danny's going to get the win because Grandpa just cannot cover for all the holes that he's got. Rednecks versus Mighty Mullets. This is Dawn versus Tyson. On paper, it's 116-128 in favor of Dawn. 7-2 versus 4-5. Dawn, you've got a cover for James Jones and your kicker, but Cam Newton against Denver. Denver's got a pretty decent defense, but that's not a bad matchup. Adrian Peterson against Detroit, he'll tear him up. Reggie Bush against Tennessee, not a great matchup. For Tyson, Russell Wilson, I don't like that start at all. But Roddy White against New Orleans, Ray Rice against Oakland, he should score 100 by himself. I'm going to give the pick to Mighty Mullets for strategic reasons. And a strategic reason is I need a Rednecks loss more than I need a Mighty Mullets win. So I'm going for the Rednecks loss here. Decepticons versus B-Hole Wreckers. Decepticons 5-4 versus B-Hole Wreckers at 3-6. On bye is Jordy Nelson, but he's injured. Randall Cobb is in Green Bay defense. Jed's got some holes to fill. Alex, on the other hand, only Santana Moss to cover. Right now, it's 139-91 for B-Hole Wreckers. Also, for strategic reasons, I'm going to pick the B-Hole Wreckers to knock off the Decepticons. I don't know, he may knock them up, too. You never know about those college kids. And in our game of the week, undefeated MudDawgs, 9-0, invade the home of Show Me Them TDs at 4-5. Rick has got a cover for Alfred Morris and Trent Richardson. He's got Drew Brees against Atlanta. It's a tough matchup. Jacksonville is hosting the Indianapolis Colts. So Reggie Wayne is playing down there. Philadelphia and Dallas has the Miles Austin matchup. For Rebecca, Roethlisberger against Kansas City. He's projected to get 35. I say he gets 70, which is good because I got him in my other league. Or no, I don't. Never mind. Anyway, I still think he gets 70. Eric Decker, who's been tearing it up this year, also against Carolina, and Michael LaShore against Minnesota. That's not a great matchup. On paper, it's 132-123 in favor of Rick. For strategic reasons, I'm picking Show Me Them TDs. All right, so let's recap again. Thursday night game, Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Bye weeks are Cleveland, Green Bay, Arizona, and Washington. This is Week 10. Our playoffs start in Week 14, so we got 4 more games. We've still got plenty of activity going on. It looks like the top end of the league is set, but there's still opportunity for teams to jostle around to get into those top 6.